Hey everyone, and welcome to Smart Talk. Are we excited about talking today? Because we are chomping at the bit. My wonderful friends and co-host here, I don't want to say in crime, I want to say in good news. We're co-hosting crime.
Maybe.
I haven't watched
Never
the show
know.
yet, but we've got the phenomenal Mark Hayes from Mark Hayes Consulting, two-time Emmy nominee for being a news anchor. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And Melissa Carter with that beautiful background we're going to talk about in a moment. She is the voice of Atlanta, podcaster if she persisted, an amazing, amazing talent in media. And I'm Aurea McGarry, and I'll just say Emmy award-winning media person from doing a TV show to spotlight nonprofits and the good news. So
I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you because the thing is, okay, so here's a little behind the scenes. So Aurea is very humble and she does not feel comfortable at all plugging herself and talking herself up, but she has done phenomenal things in this city and will continue to do phenomenal things. So I'm proud of you because this is a lesson for all of us to be able to speak what we've done, accomplishments we've had with confidence. We don't have to be embarrassed by that.
It's okay to toot your own horn.
That's right.
That's why we put her on the couch these last 5 episodes, and it's finally starting to pay off.
Yes. I love it, guys. I love tooting everybody else's horns, and I just love other people. So
well,
thank you.
Yeah, and just quickly, the reason I have the rainbow flag behind me is because this weekend is Atlanta Pride, because we do have ours in October 9th through the 11th. It's all virtual this year, of course, because of COVID. So you can always go to Atlanta Pride's website, atlantapride.com, and you can find out all the information there. Now, I said that with confidence, as if that was Atlanta Pride's website, because I don't know if it's a .com, if it's a .org. My Atlanta Pride and my Atlanta Pride people, I will put it in the comments. Please do not.
I'm going to flash it on the screen. You know me.
You know, just be kind to me. I was trying to think of something gay they could throw at me, but nothing came to mind immediately. So don't throw glitter at me. Don't you throw glitter at me.
Yes, I'm going to throw glitter at you. I got lots of glitter.
Actually, I am a lesbian, by the way. So if you're new to the show, I am a card-carrying lesbian as well. So.
That's allowed. That is allowed.
It's allowed now. That's right. I'm not your partner in crime anymore because it's legal. So there you go.
Oh, I have 2 things on my mind to say to that. Oh my gosh. One, let's not gloss over that. I'm so excited to celebrate with you, Melissa. And I'm going to put a picture up now of us, of the NATAS, the Southeast Emmy Awards. We did the parade last year. We had the most fun. It was so wonderful to see us at that parade. We miss it this year because it's the 50th anniversary this year of the Pride Parade. And I'm really distraught that we cannot be out there and celebrate with you and all of the community. And last year I was very excited to see all the different walks of life that were there. There were churches behind us and in front of us, people you didn't think you would see in the parade. So it really has come a long way. And on a strange note, I love TV. We've talked about this before. Currently, I'm watching Ratchet. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yes.
And just how far and the weird things the horrible things that used to happen. I mean, it's of course Ryan Murphy's show, so it's all demented and crazy. But it does depict the mentality of the community in the world back then, where they thought it was crazy and they had to shock it out of you. Or lobotomies.
And isn't that the backstory of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest? So that character was the nurse in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and this show is about her backstory. So
wow.
Yeah, so that has a connection.
I'll have to check that out.
In a quick, going back to Pride, just really quickly, I want to give a shout out. I was completely humbled by Atlanta Magazine. So if you pick up the latest version of Atlanta Magazine, they're celebrating the 50 years of Pride, and they had me as one of the highlights. And it was and I had a friend text it to me. I couldn't believe it. But in 2002, I was the Grand Marshal, and they included that in their issue as a highlight of Pride. And I was I'm still just speechless about it. So thank you, Atlanta Magazine, for that, because it completely came out of left field. And I'm grateful that I am still remembered for that. So
and think about it. We're in the Bible Belt, in this deep, in the heart of the Deep South, and we're celebrating 50 years of Pride. You are who you are. You can be who you want to be and not have any fear. And that's the way it should be. You shouldn't be looking over your shoulder. You love who you love. You are who you are. And that's the bottom line. I'm watching House of Lies with Don Cheadle on Showtime. And his son is plays a gay character on the show. And it's really interesting, the father-son dynamic, because the grandfather lives with them too. And you watch the interaction and all you get is positive reinforcement. you know, about him being who he is, you know, because he wears makeup, he dances, he played Rizzo in the student
I love it.
but
yeah,
but it's so cool that dad and granddad embrace who he is, you know, and give him just the fuel and their positivity behind.
That's good to know about one that's positive, Mark.
Exactly. And just letting you know, not to interrupt you, Rhea, but that 13-year-old kid that's watching that hasn't come out to anybody yet, boom, their lives have been transformed because of that show. Because people have to understand that you may not think you know somebody who's gay or lesbian, even transgender, but when they're reaching puberty and they realize something, I don't fit into normal society or average society, they're watching these things wanting to have some kind of reference of something positive. Right. And so I just encourage everybody, the way you speak, what shows you watch. I mean, you are influencing kids, even if they are straight, you're influencing them to also be positive about people who are LGBTQ. And it's very important. So I'm so glad. And I love Don Cheadle anyway. So that's
I do too. Awesome. So definitely, I'm going to make that my next one after I finish Ratchet. But on that good note too, I wasn't cursing a moment ago under my breath. I was trying to say the name of the Emmy Award-winning, multi-Emmy Award-winning sitcom that just won all the Emmys was Schitts Creek. And it's spelled like the word, like a name, Schitts Creek. It is the most phenomenal show. I watched it in a week. I could not stop watching it. And then after I'm done with the show, I like to read up on it, believe it or not. Look up there. I'm not reading a book, I'm reading online. And and it has a whole hour how it's made, how the last season was made. But you know what I didn't even pick up on? Thankfully, because I'm surrounded by such great positive influences and people. But if you watch, like, you watch Pose and the struggles they had back in the 80s with AIDS, and they were still very downtrodden. I'm watching Ratchet, Nurse Ratchet, and how they were trying to lobotomy it out of you. But if you watch Schitts Creek, I didn't realize they did the whole thing. There wasn't one, let's say, homophobic character in the entire thing. Everything was all in positive. Like, this is what it is. It's
and they're
the
in a
most
small
beautiful love story too.
Right.
Everybody needs to see Schitts Creek. It is my go-to, must-see. The entire world. You will laugh. You'll be inspired. It is so much fun. But I didn't even realize what they were doing. They were showing life as
I didn't think that either, but they're in a small town too. And you're right. There's you never feel uncomfortable being gay.
And you kept waiting for it. You kept waiting. I did kind of back your mind, but somebody's going to give them a hard time. Like when they went to, I don't want to give it away, but they go to find venues. You figured somebody would come out. And it wasn't. It was like the way it should be.
Right.
Loving, caring, human beings. And I just loved it. It is such a, if you're having a hard day or bad day or too much negative out in the world, sit down, watch
That's
Schitts
a funny
Creek.
show.
It's phenomenal. And the family's in it. Eugene Levy, his son, and his daughter are all in it.
Eugene Levy is one of my favorites.
Yes.
One of my favorites. He is classic.
You will love him in this.
I remember him in SCTV back in the day. Like, you know.
Yeah.
He was in that with Catherine O'Hara.
Exactly, yes.
And she was his first phone call to do this pilot with. And you just come do the pilot. Didn't think anything would come of it, but then it happened. They got hooked.
Yeah.
Wow.
6 years.
And I love that, like you said, I didn't think about the fact, but the two of them have been in comedy together for decades and still want to work together. So that's the other positive thing too. I love watching, and it usually happens in comedy more than any other genre.
Yeah.
But you find these comics, they travel in groups, they have each other in each other's movies and shows, and it's just really nice that
you become friends.
It shows how humor brings people together, and they, like I said, want to work together years later.
Oh, really? It really does. And on the other side of that, you look at Ryan Murphy and how he uses kind of the same actors and actresses. They kind of get all in the same world because they love talent, and it is who you know. A lot of times you stay in kind of still little pockets of people. So, but you get familiar with the faces in certain genres, which is kind of cool.
Well, I always kind of look at life through the lens of athletics and athletic competition and sports. And when I go back to, I want to say 2014, 2015, the Michael Sam case was the football player. He was the SEC Defensive Player of the Year, and then almost didn't get drafted because he had come out. And
that's right.
I was like, okay, so how does that affect his ability to sack the quarterback? I mean, this guy was a great football player until he told you who he was. And then all of a sudden
he hasn't changed. He hasn't changed. Nothing has changed about him.
Nothing has changed except the perception of him.
Exactly.
So, but even 5-6 years ago, we've come a long way in that time too. You know, I was hoping he would make somebody's team. I was shocked that he didn't, and I was saddened by it, because he came out of arguably the best football conference in college football that there is.
Wow.
So for him to be the best player at his position on defense in the SEC and then come and not be able to make an NFL team, I mean.
Well, here's the thing that I always find, there's no wasted moments.
Right.
You know, and that even goes into our current situation, because even, you know, unfortunately, the burden is on the back of him and those who don't make it all the way, but their stories and their struggles are not in vain, because other people build upon what they were able to do, and they'll go further. And then the next person will go further. So the fact that I was able to be a successful out lesbian in Atlanta and the country in certain genres is because other women before me were able to come out and not get what they wanted. And so that's the other reason, I guess, that I'm humbled by being, you know, recognized. And one of my, you know, greatest wishes is that my presence brings other lesbians who will go further than me and who will continue to go further than me, and their perception will be different, because we build upon each other. We are related, we are connected. And so that's the thing that I get out of all these, you know, you may get frustrated by these stories, but truth and love prevail in the end. And those people will be honored. Even if they didn't get what they wanted, people like me will honor the people that came before me, because I understand their sacrifice.
Well, it's just like what we were talking about last week, Melissa, with Ruth Bader Ginsburg. I mean, she paved the way. You're right. Every generation. And, you know, me, I love to talk about living your legacy. You're living your legacy now, because it will spill over to the next generation, the generation after that. So there is no wasted moment. There is no wasted experience, good or bad. And just, again, look back at, you know, I have a lens of watching generations through television, through all the different televisions we've had, how they relate to different hot topics. And you just look at how it was in the 70s, the 80s, with women's rights, with civil rights, with everything. And just watch it, you know, all the way through to now look at like Tyler Perry's studio. It's just changed the world. And we've come so far in so many different ways, but still have so much further to go in so many ways. So just don't stop. And if you're watching this program right now, put a plug in, put in the comments, a book, a movie, a program, a person that has made the difference in your life. Let us know about them. Let us know about a book we need to read, or a movie we need to see, or a Netflix series we need to see, because we want to know what you all are thinking and what's moved you and inspired you as well. This isn't just a show we just want to talk at you. We want your feedback. So let us know what's touched your life.
Absolutely. Well, and it goes, you know, like, you wonder during this time, like with President Trump testing positive for coronavirus, and
that was a lot.
I mean, what does this mean?
Yes, it was.
And I think, I mean, my reaction was much like everybody else's, where I was ugly at first in my mind. And then when I settled down, I realized, again, we're still human beings, and you don't, you know, you can't get to the point where you want somebody to suffer.
Yeah, you can't wish ill upon anybody. And my first thing wasn't negative, because, you know, I always wish well for everyone. You know, I don't, again, see people in red and blue, and there's just so many differences of people out there. But the first thing I thought of was what we've all been talking about on this show again. Melissa, Mark, and I, we've been talking about the importance of wearing a mask, because all three of us are high risk. But it just shows that anybody can get it. Mark is going to tell us about a young man just got it, because you have to wear your mask, not just sometimes, not just, you know, when you think you're close, but outside, anywhere, because you never know. So the mask is important.
And going to, you know, Vice President Biden, who was at that debate, and that's the second thing I thought after her. It's like, oh my God, what about, and then he got, you know, obviously he tested negative, but he wore a mask and he took precautions. And so it shows you, I mean, there's your evidence. There's one person who lived a certain lifestyle, another lives another lifestyle, and the outcome is one got it, one didn't.
I know it is scary, though. Some of the chatter is, if somebody as so-called protected as a president, any president that should have, you know, the best of everything surrounding all besides just Secret Service, you know, that they should have the highest of protocol, because you don't want like the Queen of England to get it, or president, or any leader of any country. And if he can get it, please, viewers, know that anybody is vulnerable, so do everything you
Yeah.
can, not just, especially if you're high risk. I understand if you're not high risk, you know,
it doesn't matter. Just, yes, you wear your mask. You don't know if you're fine. I mean, Mark's going to
Good. Mark, tell us about your person you know of that's not high risk.
I wanted to say real quickly, Prince Charles got it. So
That's
don't
right. I forgot about that.
That anybody can get it. Anyway, I'm sorry, Mark.
No, you're right. Oh my gosh.
Well, this story is about Chad Dorrell. He's a 19-year-old from Appalachian State University up in North Carolina. Super healthy was the way he was described by his family. And a week later, after contracting the COVID, you know, he was gone. And I follow a Twitter account that pays homage to the lives we've lost from COVID, which has been weird to me that we've had all these deaths. You know, we had almost 3,000 deaths on 9/11, and every year we memorialize every single one of those human beings. And it seems like we're missing the connection and the magnitude of loss. Mm-hmm. And so I found this story through this Twitter account, and that's how I read about it. And you know, here was a young man in the prime of life, just a happy-go-lucky kid, athletic, loving, just described as a super nice kid.
Yeah.
And he's gone. But you know, again, he didn't make the decision to open up these universities and these schools. You know, we as adults have to do better by our children, by these young people. You know, we're putting them in situations that just aren't. Why are we taking the chance?
We shouldn't. And how old was he, Mark?
I don't understand. 19.
He was 19.
19.
Did he have any underlying, they say COVID reveals underlying condition? Did they?
I mean, they didn't mention any in the article I read. And, you know, so it just makes you, and that's the scary thing about the president and first lady having it. We don't know how their body is going to receive it. You know, Herman Cain was the same age as President Trump at 74. And he
contracted it potentially at a Trump rally.
Right.
It's funny. I was just watching them. I don't know. It was last week before. I just happened to see it from the corner of my eye on the news that they were having the rallies, and I saw the whole crowd out there not having masks on. And I'm very just keenly aware when I see crowd without a mask because it's so part of my life. I'm in such confinement as you are, Melissa, too, with us being high risk. I only have one lung. Melissa.
I've literally been at home since March, yes.
Me too. I go out to the store, it's about it. And when I see crowds of anybody, even the kids, even the parties, I see people not wearing masks, I think, God, you gotta be a little smarter, or am I just being too overprotective? And it keeps proving me time and time again, this being the big one, for now, you cannot be too safe, my doctor said.
Let me tell you,
you cannot be too safe.
When I see Battery Park, when I see the Battery, I said Battery Park, when I see the Battery, watching the Braves game, without a mask on, like, you know, I'm so excited for the Braves and what they've done this baseball season, but the fans who are so excited can't obviously stay at home to watch the game because they're going to the Battery in droves, and I don't see very much social distancing. I see absolutely no masks, and it infuriates me because there's children there too.
Yeah, we get it. It's hard for people to stay away, but we've just got to, my daughter, Angel, always says, we just bite the bullet now. For short term, for long term success, we can do this. But nobody knows these pockets of people, including the president and the rallies, that don't just shut it down, be safe. You know, think of having just life and death right now instead of what you think you want to do, what you feel like doing. If we shut it down now, we can have this sooner.
I mean, I am so frustrated because I grew up with a Army officer father. And the Army officer father, who I loved and am so glad he was my dad, but I'm also kind of glad he's not here to see this, because there's a part of him that would be so dismayed at the fact that people are being so lazy, that people have no self-discipline, that people are being so selfish.
It's such a simple thing to do.
He would have so many stories about what people his generation had to do and what countries, you know, the wives and the children and the brothers and sisters and aunts and uncles, everybody during wartime and what they had to do and the sacrifices they had to make, and they did it for their country. Mm-hmm. And we do not have that mentality. As much as we want to act like we do, we are nowhere near the self-discipline of that generation. And so I just, that's what I think about every time. It's like, you couldn't stomach the things that our ancestors had to stomach because you can't even stay home in a comfortable environment for a pandemic. I'm so confused.
But Melissa, you hit right on the key point there, the sacrifice. It's a small sacrifice that we're being asked of. And to me, you don't have to wear it in the car. Like I laugh when I see people with the windows up. You got the mask on and the windows up. You're good in there. You're good if you're
unless
in
you have a
cubicle.
guest in the car, you know.
Yeah. But I mean, it's really not that much of an ask when we consider the sacrifices that when others have paid the ultimate sacrifice and given their life so that we can have this quality of life, so that we could vote, so that we could be free. Yeah. And here we are not even having the wherewithal to protect our fellow neighbor. Right. And getting mad for someone asking us to do so.
I know. Marcus, like what we said again a couple episodes ago, we're talking about parenting. And kids do what we do, not what we say. And that has so much to do with our leadership, with whether it's a leader of a school or a community or just people that own stores. If you do what we need to do, others should follow suit more. But you can't tell everybody just do something and then not do it yourself. So leaders, teachers, everyone needs to just say, okay, this is it. We need to wear a mask, not a big deal, even if it's for a year. Think long term. Don't think, gotta wear it for another week. Really just get this in your mind. We're gonna wear it for a while.
Lazy.
Wear it for a while. I'm sorry. Leaders need to wear it too. Whatever you're leading.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but it's lazy. Everything you say, lazy. If you're somebody that fights somebody in the store, you're lazy. If you're somebody, seriously, you're just plain lazy. And here we still are. And here we are with over 200,000 deaths in our country, over 1 million people worldwide. I mean, this is ridiculous. This is becoming like plague-like numbers, right? And for people who think this is no different than the flu.
And I'm a little concerned with the holidays coming up because I'm starting to get invited to gatherings, small gatherings. I'm like, wait a minute, in person? We're just having 20 people or 30 people or 15. I'm like, I can't.
That's a super spreader event. Because remember the wedding in Maine where 7 people died and none of which had gone to the wedding.
What? Say that again? I didn't hear this.
There was a wedding in Maine. Small little city in Maine, 15, 20 people, I think, showed up, right? 7 people died from contacts with those people.
I think I do remember that now.
Wedding, and none of the people that died went to the wedding.
Right.
That tells us everything we need to know about COVID.
Look, okay, yes, my mother passed in May. We still haven't had a funeral for her. We make the sacrifices we have to make. My son's birthday was last week, and we celebrated it last weekend. We did a parade. We had nobody come they drove by to say hi, and everybody was safe in their own cars. He still had a birthday. You figure it out.
Right. You make the
sacrifices. And we didn't tell our son it was a sacrifice. It was the most glorious day in the world because all these people came in a parade just for him. So for him, it's one of the most special birthdays he'll ever have. So the thing is, again, you're lazy. And if you're having holiday parties, why? And why is trick-or-treating going to be a debate? Why is Thanksgiving and Christmas going to be a debate? Guess what? This is still going to be here. And so,
Melissa, what do you think about trick-or-treating? What do you got? What's your guys' feel on trick-or-treating?
No. I'm going to somebody's house. I don't know if you have had your mask on this whole time. I'm not going to eat your candy, and my son is not coming to your door. I don't even know if you're going to show up at the door in a mask. Right. No way. No.
Where all that candy's been? I mean, we're disinfecting our UPS boxes.
No way.
Yeah, we're going to stick our hands in a bowl full of candy.
No.
60, 70 times. I'm not doing that. My light's going to be off. I might put an orange cone down at the bottom of my driveway.
This is my favorite. Yes, this is my favorite holiday, but hell no. Pardon the language.
And
no way.
Did you see that hate on that too when the CDC came out with, I think it was on one of our local news, came out with the precautions how to do, the CDC said to do Halloween. And everybody said, CDC's not telling me what to do. We're trick-or-treating. We're going out. I was like, oh.
Well, guess what? Those people get to wear an actual ghost costume next year. I won't have to. I get to wear a sheet. Okay, that's the difference between being here and playing dead and actually being dead.
Exactly.
You hit it, Melissa. Wow. Yeah, exactly. So don't play around with
I'm not giving out
holiday
any candy.
Season, people.
Don't ring my bell.
No, my light's going to be
There's
off
no
too.
need for you. Yeah, my light's going to be off. I'm not playing.
And I love Halloween too.
And I'm not going to complain about it. I'm not going to complain about it. I'm so sick of people complaining about it. Like, it is what it is, whether you complain or not.
Right.
Yeah. We just know this needs to be an eye opener. What just happened, like I said, if it can happen to the leader of the country, it can happen to your kids, it can happen to your college student, it can happen to you, healthy or high risk like the three of us. It's just there. And
it's already happened.
It's looming.
Right. It's already happened to over 200,000. I tell you, there's people who are watching the show that said, Aurea, my son already got it. My parents already got it. My grandparents already got it. I've already lost family members. I couldn't have a funeral either. I mean, people need to understand this is real, and you have to do what it takes to get us through this. Well,
and here's the other thing to think about, and this is when the ugliness left, my heart and my head even this morning. As I saw that Barron Trump had tested negative, okay? But both of his parents are positive, and we don't know what the outcome is going to be, okay? I mean, just imagine how awful that would be, right? Worst case scenario. Right. I mean, that's what we're dealing with now, right? This is bigger than you as an adult.
Yeah, I think about that all the time.
You're an adult, you're a parent with a family.
Yes, that's the reason that I've been home since March. I mean, of course, part of it's about me not wanting to go, but I have a 5-year-old son. I do not want him to have that experience if I can help it.
So my daughters haven't let me out. They're not going to lose their mama. I mean, Angel, she's 30-something, and she's got me on lockdown. She doesn't want to lose her mama at that age. So nobody wants to lose their mom or their dad or anyone. And so I daily, moment by moment, feel stay alive for them. I mean, it's not for me. It's for my girls and my husband and my family. Well, I know how horrible it would be just to lose me, and it'd be horrible if I lost them. You just don't want to have to do that.
Just take it seriously. And also, let me apologize to Mr. Carter, my son, because he's now 6, and I called him 5.
Yes, he is.
Yeah. Get it right, lady.
Birthday.
Get it right, lady.
Come on, he's 6 now, Mom.
Just terrible mom.
Just wait till be 16 before you know it. Enjoy 6.
I know, right?
Oh my God. Well, this has been great. And viewers, to chime in, let us know. Tell us what you're thinking. Give us any good news or any news you want us to talk about or address or find out for you, because it can be a mess out there, but we still want to give you all hope that together we can get through this if we stick together. The problem is we're not together.
Right.
And if you didn't know how we really feel after the show, y'all know how we really feel. It's like, let's get this together.
I was pleasantly surprised by social media reaction where it didn't get, really super ugly. And people, for the most part, from what I saw, and it's
I saw
anecdotal.
some ugly ones. Really ugly.
There were some ugly ones out there, but for the most part.
But Melissa told me not to read the comments.
So I don't read the comments. You're going to have to stop, Aurea. But I agree with Mark. I mean, Mark, there are people out there, there was one in particular who was so anti-Trump, and he talked through his emotions. And the same with me. I admit that the first thought I had was karma, but then, you're like, no, this is a human being. We're all human beings, and I'm not going to be that person. And so, and I think, again, the good part of this is the exposure to it and understanding your own feelings, a self-reflection of how you are. If you're somebody that's being hateful, then you're going to have to step back a second, because look what you've become. You're becoming what you are accusing the other side of being. And that's not right. You can't, it's what eye for an eye. Aren't we taught not to do eye for an eye? So
well said, Melissa. Well said. Yeah, absolutely. Never wish ill on anyone. Nobody. Any political view or any view on any topic isn't worth that. We're all humans. We're all brothers and sisters, and in this world together. And we have to have love. If you don't have natural love just for your fellow man, your neighbor, then what do you have? So you have to think of people like saying Trump, their parents, their moms, their dads, their people. For God's sake, they're people. And I just wish it wasn't so much hate for all. I saw a lot of, when I went through that, we were saying that on Twitter, there's some other things happening, and people go real quick towards the hate. And I'm really listening to you, Melissa, now, just not to read the comments because they can behave no matter what the post is. No, you can't. I didn't realize, I think because of social media, it makes you realize how much hate there is out there, and I don't want to see it all. So I still know there's more.
I disagree. See, I disagree with you. I don't think that's hate. I don't think that's hate. I think social media allows you to give a knee-jerk reaction without repercussions.
Without any consequence.
Exactly.
Yep.
But
Yep.
I think that I don't believe that there's that much hate out there. I think there's that much anger for sure.
Yeah, because I was
think
looking
there's
at
far more love than there is hate.
Yeah, because I was looking at John Legend, who just lost. They just lost Chrissy Teigen and John Legend just lost their child too. She just had a miscarriage, and you would think that would have a whole bunch of outpouring of love, but there was haters who were saying, "How can you post a picture at the time of this?" It's like, oh my gosh, there's people out there, trolls, that just like find something bad or knee-jerk reaction on anything.
This reminds me, I'm going sci-fi on you guys. So I don't know if you've ever seen The Fifth Element, which is a fantastic movie with Bruce Willis, and it is a sci-fi movie. It's several years old, but in it, the fifth element is basically like the elements of the earth. The fifth element was like this divine human being that had come to earth to try to help. And so Aurea reminds me of The Fifth Element, because in the movie, The Fifth Element sees everything that's going wrong with the world and becomes so overwhelmed by the anger and the hate and the violence that she loses track of what her purpose is on Earth. And Bruce Willis's character has to kind of help make her understand that there is more love, that people are worth saving, is basically what his role is. So that's why I'm like, Aurea, honey, don't look at this stuff because you get overwhelmed by it. That's right. You're the fifth element.
Oh, no.
Don't forget your purpose.
My purpose is not to read all the bad. It's like all of a sudden quarantine is all here.
No.
You know what? It doesn't take a lot of bad to bother me. One bad comment, because, escaping domestic violence, it just took one nasty thing to say to me.
I know.
And it would ruin my day. So
what are you doing? No. Sorry, there you go. Good job. I mean, I feel like, so bless Aurea's heart. She started the show, and Mark and I are her counselors and always telling her what to do.
Wait a minute, bless her heart. That's not a good saying.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean that. Really, I didn't mean that.
I know. I totally believe there's more good in the world. It really is. But one bad comment.
Look at the flag behind me. I can do this with pride and be out in the open. And used to I couldn't. And there's a lot of people who feel they can't, but you can. And like Mark said, I mean, it does get better. We're in the middle of it. You don't recognize that, but it always gets better, and it always will continue to get better. So there is always hope. Always.
And again, the quarantine, when there's nothing else to do but to be scrolling, that's a problem too. I miss being out. I miss
create. That's a great point, Aurea. I think that my advice to people because we're in this for several more months and during the holidays, and you shouldn't have big gatherings and doing all this stuff. And what you got to do instead of scrolling is create. So instead of scroll, go and write a journal, go paint a picture, go take photography, whatever it is that you want to do, this is your chance to do it.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Create, don't react. That's what you need to do.
That's going to be our logo. Create, don't react.
Each and every day.
Each and every day. That's right.
Absolutely. Well, any last minute thoughts on that? Mark, I know we've been yapping over here. Let's scroll over here.
Here's my last minute point. If you ever notice on Twitter, and it's almost exclusive to Twitter because you can't tell who these people are. The people with no picture and the people with these crazy pictures are the ones who say the meanest things. They don't even want to put their name or face on.
Right. They don't put their real name on there.
Right. And those are the people. It's like, really? You can say that, but you can't put your name. You can't own it.
Correct.
Right. You can't put any stock in people like that. Right. Because they're miserable. Right. And they want to project that onto you. So why let them win? Right. And they're doing it all day long. And you can see it coming a mile away. And, because my block game is incredible. I've got an amazing block game. I will block you in a second when you come at me crazy. And, and my laugh emoji. I work my laugh emoji out. I have worn the key out for my laugh emoji.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's awesome. And because it is what it is. You're not going to be able to convince them on your point of view. You're not going to have a constructive back and forth. So, take it for what it is.
Right.
We get our value out of it. I mean, who would have thunk back in 2006 when all this stuff started? I remember when Facebook, first came out and we had to post on it. I'm like, oh gosh, I can't wait till next summer and we won't have to do this anymore. This will be around.
And Aurea, what he's talking about is
10 months.
Is as part of media, we were encouraged to sign up for all that stuff and use it. So it's same for me. I only joined Facebook and Twitter and Instagram Now I've joined TikTok on my own, but Facebook and Instagram and Twitter were job requested. So
and you thought it was like a fad? It was just for a while?
It was just something to do for obligation for your job.
Oh,
is what it started.
Now look where it's gone.
I never thought it would last.
Look where it's gone. Oh my
You know, I thought it was going to be like, what was the one? MySpace.
MySpace,
I thought it was going to be a MySpace deal.
Come and go.
You know, come and go. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But it will end because the next generation, you know, already on Facebook, kids don't get on Facebook. That's what mom.
They laugh at
I know. Have you all seen
our grandparents are.
I know. Have you all seen The Social Dilemma that just came out?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that was interesting. Again, watch it. We can talk about that on another show, but that was interesting. A little bit more to it than I thought about. But Melissa, you couldn't have had a better segue for what I was going to announce today.
Okay.
And you'll be so hopefully proud of me, and you, Mark, too, as well. We're going to get to our not so smart because we believe in laughter. We believe in fun and laughing at other people's. No, just kidding.
With them.
But today, this day is my 59th birthday.
Oh.
But I say that for a reason because I am determined. This quarantine has really given me a lot more time with my thoughts than I would like. My human interaction, and I'm going to have a road to 60. 2021 is going to, on October 7th, 2021, I will turn 60. My mom died a week before her 60th birthday. It's a milestone. I got cancer on my 38th birthday. It'll also be my 25th wedding anniversary in 2021, and it'll be my lucky 13th Live Your Legacy Summit that I'm determined to have, whether it's virtual or in person. So the fall of 2021 is going to be a big milestone, and I'm going to journey with you all, with everyone that wants to follow me, with every single day for the next 365 days. I'm going to post something positive and inspirational. My blinders are off to the chaos and crazy negative in the world. People are going to be who they're going to be, and I choose positive, and I want to pour in my legacy to whoever wants it for the next 365 days as my journey to 60 commences today. And I can think of anybody better to spend it with than you all, Mom.
Hey. All right. Happy birthday.
To celebrate.
Yes.
Indeed.
That's fantastic. Indeed. Good for you. I am proud of you. I'm always proud of you. Good
Thank you.
Aurea.
Proud of you too. And Mr. Carter, we're October babies together.
Right. Right. Our Libras, always trying to bring balance into the world.
We are.
Yeah.
Doesn't always work, but we try. All right, well, let's do this. Since again, we're going to start with Mark again. Mark, and next we're going to have you call in first. You get up on top, but Melissa and I get a little emotional here today. We've been kind of talking a lot here. So, Mark, we're going to let you lead our Not So Smart.
Not So Smart this week, ladies and gentlemen. Brought to you by Ultra Bright. No. So this week
we are looking for sponsors, by the way.
Good point.
Always.
Always.
So we are going across the pond once again because Europe seems to be a great place for Not So Smart. But this time we're going to the Lincolnshire Wildlife Center. And it's because they have 5 foul-mouthed parrots who won't stop cussing. That's right. The parrots won't stop cussing. So you know what the zookeeper decided to do? The zookeeper took the parrots and separated them all and said, you know what? What are your names? You're not gonna be allowed to play together anymore. So the parents who would not listen, basically Billy, Eric, Tyson, Jade, and Elsie, were a part of a colony of 200 gray parrots. And they all got separated because they didn't know how to follow directions. But what I want to know is whose idea was it to put the 5 potty-mouthed parrots all in the same colony together, and then who encouraged them to cuss? Because
that's the thing.
They mimic.
That person is not so smart.
I mean, not take responsibility for that.
Hello.
There's a reason I don't have parrots. Yes. I mean,
I love parrots. I want to cockatoo. I love parrots. But, you know, it proves our point we were just talking about, that you do what people do, what we do, not just what we say. Right. So they were doing, and they were following, copying. But you're right. There's a human in there somewhere, a couple of them, that taught those birds that.
That's right. And just, you know, on the positive side, we can make a difference because, like you said, I mean, everybody that we see that is ugly and racist and homophobic and, you know, who's sexist and, you know, these are people who learn that.
Right.
That's not something you're born with. And
Learn
so they
behavior.
learned that from somebody. So just check
And you
yourself.
can unlearn it.
And
you can unlearn it. We've seen that
Absolutely.
too. So,
Absolutely.
so quit it. Stop being not so
Be smart. Don't be not so smart as being racist and sexist and homophobic and
being one of those parrots in that
Right.
zoo. Not
being
so
a parrot. That's right.
Smart. So mimic the good. Do the good. Absolutely.
That's right.
Let's put some good birds in there with those birds.
All right. So for my
That
not
was
so
great.
smart, I'm going to take us back to the 80s. Do you remember the
Love the
movie
80s.
Risky Business?
Oh,
with
yeah.
Tom Cruise? It's what made him a superstar was Risky Business.
Sure.
But of
Before my
course-
time. No kidding.
I mean,
Right.
yes, it's your birthday. I won't
That's
say
right.
anything. You get birthday privileges. So now I think the iconic scene in Risky Business is when he's in his, underwear and dancing. But there's another scene in Risky Business I want to take you to is when he had the Porsche and he'd driven it on the pier. And
Whoa.
then all of a sudden the car decided to go into the water and he could do nothing about it.
Right.
Unfortunately, that scene unfolded in real life in Utah recently where
Oh,
a man, I don't know what kind of car because the picture, I mean, you can tell, you can't see what kind of car this is.
oh my gosh.
But the guy drove it on the pier on purpose because he wanted to take a picture of his car with the water as
Of
the
the water.
background. So he loved his
Oh,
car
my
so
word.
much. He was trying to take the perfect picture. Now, it has not been reported exactly what happened when he was outside that car taking that picture. That car decided to go right into the water by itself.
Nice.
So he had to
no.
call authorities and they had to come fish. And it's the authorities that now he was trying to take a picture of the car on the pier outside the water. But the authorities took a picture of it underwater. Because they wanted to show their buddies and then they fished it out of the water.
I don't think the general's going to cover that. The general won't cover that.
Even the general would say that's not so smart.
That's
Not so smart. But hey, if you want a picture to go viral, real smart. So
Right.
Yeah.
oh my gosh, that's great. I was wondering, Melissa, when you showed us that picture with the story behind it, because in case you viewers don't know, she sent it over to me and Margaret said, story at 11. No, story coming soon. I'm like,
Exactly.
oh my God.
There's a tease.
There's a tease. That was great. That's a good, not so
funny.
smart.
I love it.
Oh my goodness. All right. Well, I am going to give many, many wives, girlfriends, a chance to laugh. Because I'm just assuming this is some not so smart guy that decides to say, oh, honey, I can renovate the bathroom. Let me do it. And then this is not so smart way to renovate your bathroom. When I saw this, I could not stop laughing because not only is the door too big, but instead of fixing, it's the old husband, honey, do lift.
That's the part of the door. Listen, you know what? I fix it. Don't bring anybody else in. I can do this. Don't worry about it.
That conversation. I got this. I got it.
I know what I'm doing. But the thing is, men usually are very, not accurate when it comes to rulers and measurements, if you know what I mean. So,
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't right on this one either.
What's the old saying? You measure twice and cut once?
Yeah.
He didn't measure at all. He didn't measure. But that was a nice cut there, right around the bowl. I mean, wow.
Perfect.
I like the skill.
Honestly, when I first saw that picture, I thought, oh, that must be a bathroom in New York, because that's how hotel rooms feel to me in New York.
In
But
New York,
Really small.
exactly.
Really small.
Yes.
I've literally had a door hit the bed in a hotel room on
I
Times
do.
Square before.
Oh, I believe it. I believe it.
Oh, for
It's
sure.
super-duper
Oh,
tiny.
I just thought about how much effort it took to solve that just right. You could work around your mistake.
You know what that is?
Sliding
You know
door
what that
might
is?
have worked.
That measurement was so that he could still, let's see, how do I put it?
Oh.
Come to bed.
Yeah.
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 He all of a sudden decided, oh, I need to do something to fix this because I don't want to sit on the couch for a week or two.
Well, the good thing, at least the seat is down. At least it's over that way.
That's what he's saying that's what he's saying, honey. But look, the seat's down. I got the door measure. I mean, what's the problem? I tried.
Well, when you close the door and you go in there and you're in there for a while, at least you got some ventilation.
Still too much of a view that I was.
Oh, honey,
TMI.
you're not gonna pass out. You're not gonna pass out. See, fine.
Oh God!
You don't need to light a match like
Right.
people in my life have done.
Light a
Don't
match.
you have a light match.
Or
Who
pass me
doesn't-
another magazine. You just
Yeah.
slide it right through the opening.
Exactly.
Oh,
And by the way, matches don't work. By the way, guys,
No.
don't light a match.
doesn't
That
work.
doesn't work. It's just burnt.
Yeah, exactly. I just had a belly laugh. And viewers watching, share your favorite not so smart moments. We want to see yours because we just need to laugh more. We love to laugh. It's good for all the endorphins and everything to just laugh more. So send us in, put in the comments, send us some pictures. These are funny. We'll start featuring some of our viewers not so smart. I think it'll be fun.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I mean, if there's a plethora of them out there to find, not that we're short of them, but we like to see yours too. So let's see what they come up with. So on that note, give us a closing message, closing thought, because this has been kind of a heavy topic today. And for my birthday, let's think of one fun thought to leave everybody with today.
Yeah. I will say, love thy neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we can't do any better than that for this time and this unique place that we are in, because 25 years from now, we're going to be talking about 2020 like, oh my Lord, what was that?
Right. Yeah.
You know, and if we just start loving thy neighbor, getting to know thy neighbor again, and being
neighbor
kind.
is everyone, not the
Yes.
person that's next door to you, just everyone.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that I want to share a quote that I have on my refrigerator that gets me through this. I don't have a lot of quotes. I'm not the girl that has all kinds of quotes, but I have a few. And one on the fridge is simple. It says, "It's hard, do it anyway." And that means you just do it anyway. You got to persist. You just so be strong and knowing you have the strength to do what it takes. It's just you got to make the decision to do it.
Right.
Absolutely. And happy Pride Month, Melissa, and to everyone.
Yes. Happy Pride Month.
It's Pride weekend in Atlanta, and we can celebrate all October.
All
but
month.
It's the 9th to the 11th, and it's virtual this year, so everybody can participate.
It's like a birthday where people have a birthday month. Same thing.
Exactly. It's just all
I celebrate all month. All month. Let's just be clear. You can wish me happy birthday all month. And mine off the top of my head is to find the good, find the positive, and don't just find it, post it. Because as I'm going to be posting good for the next 365 days, which I probably post good anyway, but I'm really going to seek out even more extraordinary good things, more extraordinary good stories in the mix of so much. I challenge all of you to do the same. Find the good in everyone and people you may think you just normally disagree with. Find something good. Everything that comes across your view for the rest of your life. And see how much happier you will be for that. And I'm not reading comments anymore. Just saying. Okay.
Now, look, you made it official, Ray. Don't you come back next week and
yes, indeed. Talk about you read the comments.
No more.
I ain't reading no comments unless they're good.
No more.
It'll be consequences and repercussions.
I know. Uh-oh, they have my back now. I'm being watched. And I'm so glad I am. I love you both dearly. It's been so much fun. Have a great rest of your week, all, and let's wave bye as we always do. Yeah. Thank you for being here.
Happy birthday, Aurea.
Happy birthday. Enjoy.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Love you all.
See you next time.